Hello again. I know it's been a while, but sometimes things don't go quite the way we want them to. Sometimes life gets together with our schedule and decides we need to be doing something we didn't plan on doing. Doing the right thing, first time, every time, and expecting everything to work out just the way we think it should, sometimes doesn't quite work that way, does it? What then? What do you do next, when things go wrong after you did the right thing? My name is Ian Currey and this is Thinking Out Loud. Come on, let me tell you what I think. This month I've been busy, far too busy to get the studio set up properly. But nonetheless, here we are. The right thing to do this month has been to focus on some things I need to get done, like filing taxes. Ugh. It would be so easy to put that off and make excuses and have a bad attitude about it. Many of my friends know I claim to be a Jesus follower. Now, these days, you kind of need to define what you actually mean when you say that. But the general idea, besides the whole belief system that goes with it, usually involves doing the right thing. Things like loving God and loving people, trying to do things the way Jesus would if he were faced with a similar situation. It all sounds very idealistic. Paul even tells us what some of the God-given personal characteristics might look like for those claiming to be followers of Christ. But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in your lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Ah, lovely. But what do you do when that doesn't work? What when those people just don't respond to you being nice? What do you do when you come across someone that seems like a good slap might be more appropriate than a kind word of encouragement? Not too long ago, someone I know who often isn't a very nice person to be around was on one of their rants. Here we go again, I thought. How am I supposed to be kind and patient with this erupting volcano? I hadn't done anything bad, I'd simply stumbled into an already bad situation. I was patient, kind and gentle, and certainly exercised self-control. I felt like giving them a bonk on the nose or something. Doing the right thing really wasn't likely to make much difference, or at least it seemed not. Just then, a friend came along, saw the situation and yelled at the person letting off steam. "What do you think you're doing? Get out of here and leave these people alone. Nobody wants to hear you." A good bit of bad language was traded between the two, and eventually the argument was taken elsewhere. Calm was restored, and the few of us trying to enjoy a quiet coffee were able to enjoy each other's company. I probably could have got involved and encouraged the argument to move on, or quieten down at least, but then I wouldn't have enjoyed any peace and quiet while sipping my long-awaited coffee. And besides, it wasn't my fight. It wasn't anything to do with me. My friend getting up there and yelling a string of obscenities met fire with fire, and despite heaping fuel on the fire, seemed to do the job. As a follower of Jesus, I wondered what he would have done. What was the right thing to do? Should I have been happy that someone else took initiative and did what I wanted to do but knew I shouldn't? Just because what I knew to be right didn't seem to be working, does that give me the right to delegate doing the wrong thing to someone else? It gets complicated, doesn't it? The reality is that doing the right thing does work. It just may not have the outcome we want it to have. Sometimes the right thing benefits others and detracts from us. In the end, me mentally delegating doing the wrong thing to someone else is even worse than me doing it myself. It makes me a hypocrite. I'm not willing to say or do those things, but I'm very happy when someone else does them. In everyday life, relationships, politics even, and basically every situation where we know what the right thing to do would be, we are so often happy to let someone else, someone clearly not following God's way, do the wrong thing on our behalf. Somehow, we mentally think it gives us a sort of plausible deniability. We somehow want those people to be punished instead of loved, the law to apply unjustly to others, but of course not to us. Tax, wages, wealth in general, to be in our favour rather than truly being fair. What I want to happen might happen better, faster, and more evenly the way I want it to if the wrong thing gets done, even if it's not me that's doing it. So long as I can live the way I want to and appear to be living by principles I know to be right, I'll be happy. The problem, of course, is that doing the right thing might not benefit me directly. What then? Doing the right thing might mean I have a worse living situation, less resources, less freedom even, and those people get to do things I don't like at all. Am I willing to do what I know to be right, even when it adversely affects me? This is, of course, nothing new. The religious rulers that Jesus faced head on were most upset when Jesus pointed out that outwardly you look like righteous people, but inwardly your hearts are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness. That whole chapter there is full of Jesus lamenting this form of mental dishonesty. One of my favorite examples of this practice is recorded in the story of Job. Job tells us, "As long as I live, while I have breath from God, my lips will speak no evil, and my tongue will speak no lies." I've talked about this story in a previous video, but it's worth looking at again. The character of Job doesn't let him curse up a storm, even when he wants to. But in one of my favorite phrases from the Bible, when Job feels like cursing the day he was born, he thinks about calling on experts, sailors, to do the job for him. Let those who are experts at cursing, whose cursing could rouse Leviathan, curse that day. While the thought of the sea monster Leviathan being woken up by sailors cursing may be a fun thought, the fact remains that delegating wrong does not exonerate us from guilt. I'm sure there's a whole other video hiding in that idea. Guilty of something I didn't actually do, but somehow condone. Today, let's stick with one thought. Let's do the right thing first time every time and leave the consequences, good or bad, to God. He's quite big enough to take care of his interests without us figuring out ways to take the law into our own hands and finding ways to curse at monsters. Until next time, goodbye.